What's up, YouTube? On this episode of Coddiwomple Overland, we're going to continue our expedition through Utah and Colorado as we visit the Henry Mountains and get caught in a hailstorm. Coddiwomple Overland is proudly powered by Dan Cummins Off-road, home of the Lifetime powertrain. Also in part by Overland Vehicle Systems, Faster Flate, and Trail-Rated Coffee. When we left you in part 1, we had made camp just outside of Hanksville, and it was nearly dark. We woke up the next morning to a beautiful sunrise and a killer campsite. We had to start the morning off with a great cup of coffee. Deb and Laura always seem to want to feed the animals wherever we go. This location was no different.
But there's like 4 of them on you now.
And they're right in front of him.
Yes. I don't know how a little guy couldn't get excited about that.
I could feel his little toenails when I was like, he's climbing up my foot.
He's got that one eye on those 2.
Yeah, he's weird though. I mean that he's that.
Here he goes.
Oh, yeah.
Looky there.
Did he get one?
I don't know. I don't think he got one, but he went after him. Oh, now he's like, Kelly, you got
Coming
one?
after me?
This little guy would hang around camp for the majority of the morning. While Deb and Laura made friends with him, Kelly was still just a little bit apprehensive.
That lizard's stalking you, Mike. He might have a knife. Be careful. Where? He's under the Jeep.
After saying goodbye to the lizard, we packed up and made our way back towards Green River, where we were going to try to find the parts to fix Mike's overheating JK. If you remember from the last episode, Mike was having a transmission overheating problem. We were on our way to Green River to get a remote transmission cooler so we could get that problem fixed. We were able to find the parts we needed and some shade underneath this old gas station awning. It kind of felt like we should be working on an old Studebaker right here on Route 66.
Coddiwomple funnel available at Dan Cummins Off-road.
Home of the Lifetime After we got the cooler on, we had to fill up the transmission with a homemade funnel. Then no more transmission overheating problems, and we were good to go. After we got Mike and Laura's Jeep all fixed up, it was time to make our way toward the Henry Mountains. As we started gaining elevation into the Henry Mountains, the views just kept getting better and better. As we were making our way up the mountain, I began telling everybody about the campsite that I had picked out that we had found on Trails Off-road. It was right in the middle of a grove of aspens. Up till now, we hadn't seen any aspens at all, and I don't think everybody believed me. Then all of a sudden, we pop around a bend at about 8,500 feet, and this is what we found. Again, this was another one of those campsites that you only see on TV. It was truly magical. There was even deer running around everywhere around us. I think this was going to be everybody's favorite camp spot of the whole trip. I know it was mine. We all set up camp pretty quick and had plenty of time to enjoy our surroundings. We all actually took a little bit too much time enjoying our surroundings, and we ended up eating in the dark. This was the most beautiful and peaceful place that I have ever camped. The view the next morning was just as stunning. I could wake up to views like this every day. Everybody just kind of hung around camp and had a great breakfast, and I was able to download some content so we could load a little more throughout the day. We also took a little bit of time this morning to do our first campfire chat. This was where all of us got together and talked about our first week. After getting packed up, it was time to head on into the Henry Mountains and make our way across Bull Creek Pass. As we continued to climb, the views got more and more incredible, if it only weren't for the smoky haze. By this point, we were pretty much above the tree line and getting ready to cross over Bull Creek Pass. This pass is about 10,500 feet. Crossing over the northeast side, you find yourself in dense pine forests like this, but you pop in and out of them. I'm betting on a clear day with no smoke, you could see forever from here. As we made our way on down the east side of the Henrys, it seemed like just every few minutes the terrain was completely changing. Before we knew it, we were out of the lush green mountains and back into the desert. At this point, we were heading toward Hanksville. The reason we were going there was to try to get some internet access and to refuel. After we left Hanksville, we made our way on down Highway 95 to go across the Height River crossing. The plan was to stay all night at the Height Marina next to the water. Should have known there was not going to be any water in this area, since we had already had to detour our plans and not go across the Bullfrog Ferry because of low water. Lake Powell has dropped over 50 feet in elevation in the last year. This drop in water is apparently creating the closure of many water access areas, such as this one. We're driving on the boat ramp here that is supposed to be well underwater. Right there's the dock. After another failed attempt at trying to find water, it was off into the desert again. At this point, we decided to continue on east and try to find a camp along Dark Canyon. Just as the sun was starting to set, we ironically found a place called the Sundance Trailhead. We decided to set up camp here for the night, overlooking Dark Canyon.
It was partly sunny. The wind was west at 14 miles an hour. High pressure will maintain dry and stable conditions Monday.
After a nice meal, we got a little bit of the weather report and settled down for the night.
Expected to develop early to mid.
The next morning we woke up to incredible weather and just sat around for a little while to enjoy the view a little longer.
Do they eat the bottoms?
The plan today was to make our way from Dark Canyon over across Elk Ridge and into Blanding.
When he got up in the morning, he popped his stem on.
As we made our way along Lower Horse Flats, we began to get a little bit more elevation and the trail started to get a little bit more rough.
They probably put those ponds in.
By this point, the vegetation was starting to get a lot more green, and we began seeing cattle ponds along the trail. And then the terrain totally changed. We'd went from about 5,500 feet in elevation this morning to now we were at about 8,000. The trail at this point was pretty smooth and we were making good time, but we were looking for a little more adventure. As we were spending time enjoying this little side trail, we noticed that the skies went from sunny and a few clouds to darker and darker.
I just got hit by a raindrop that was the size of Godzilla. We got hail up here. Did you see it?
It was 80-degree weather too. When this hit 84.
Was that a bit of lightning?
Yes, it was.
I just heard it.
And that was fairly close.
At this point, we thought we may have skirted around the storm. We really wasn't sure because we wasn't able to get a radar up on our phones. And then it turned into this.
That last little tournament got a little slippery. It'd be a shame to come all the way out to Utah and you get no trail damage, but you get hail damage. I'm showing 55 degrees right now. Yep, we got 55 as well. Now, if we can only get some snow.
We're at 8,500 feet. We had lunch about 30 minutes ago. It was 85 degrees. And in 30 minutes it started raining and hailing. And now we're at 53.
Yeah. The thing is breaking up a little bit ahead.
Oh, I see one. Thanks.
Yeah, looks like the sky's getting a little lighter, don't it? Stuff in front of us.
Look, we're throwing stuff all the way in front of us.
I'm glad it rained here because if not, there would have been so much dust, you guys wouldn't have been able to see nothing.
You're still kicking up dust.
Well.
And again, we had thought we had made it through the bulk of the rain, but no, we had another round.
Snowballs are stuck in the mud. Further down we go, the bigger the hail gets.
Yeah, it seems like it would be just the opposite. As we made our way out of the mountains and back down into the desert, we were finally able to get out from underneath the storm clouds that were hanging over the mountains. For now. We'd gotten back onto the road just outside of Blanding, only to find a bridge out. We had to turn around, do a little bit of backtracking, and find another way into Blanding.
Well, I guess we're going to have to go the other way because that bridge is out.
After looking at Guide GPS, we found a plan B and made our way on into Blanding.
Looks like another pretty cool plan B.
Plan B turned out being a whole lot better than the blacktop would have been. As beams of light started popping through the clouds, we made our way into Blanding. We made a quick stop in Blanding for some fuel and supplies, and then we're right back out of town, headed north to our next campsite. We made it to Dry Wash Reservoir where we planned to set up camp tonight and get out into the water and get a shower. Well, the reservoir had a beautiful backdrop. It was still really muddy around it and there was lots of cattle around. We decided to go to the adjacent Nizoni campground where we could set up the Julka for a shower and get a hot meal going.
You should be more afraid of us.
Yes. People like Kelly will shoot you. On the menu tonight was hamburger steaks.
Hey, Kelly! You want American or Swiss? We have fried mushrooms and onions.
Be sure to watch out for the next episode when we tackle Bobby's Hole, Devil's Lane, and Elephant Hill. Thanks again for watching Coddiwomple Overland. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Remember, check out Dan Cummins Off-road, home of their lifetime warranty. They've really supported us. Now let's support them. We're just a few hundred subscribers from reaching 10,000. Help us hit that milestone. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. Until next time, see ya.